Welcome back to Grid Drop. Today we're going to help you get faster on one of Formula One's most iconic tracks, the Hungaroring. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave any feedback or questions in the comment section, or in my Discord, which is linked in the description. That being said, let's get right into it. This video will be broken down into 5 sections: car setup, Sector 1, Sector 2, Sector 3, and finally a full lap. These sections are all equally important, so stay tuned to the end of the video if you really want to improve. So here's the car setup I run in Hungary. Feel free to pause this video and screenshot this if you want to try out the setup on your own. The setup prioritizes front-end rotation and balanced braking throughout the entirety of the track without sacrificing straight-line speed. As a disclaimer, this setup is a general baseline for you to start with and applies to both hot laps and a race. I recommend doing a few laps with the setup and tweaking it to fit your own style. Heading into turn 1, pay attention to the curbing and the meter boards on the left. You want to brake exactly at the 100 meter board. Slamming on the brakes now, keep your eyes focused on the apex of the corner. You want to stick as close to the curb as you possibly can. Once turning in, keep your eyes trained on the apex. If you look at where you want the car to be placed, it'll naturally be placed there. At mid-corner now, slowly start getting back on the power. It's easy to spin here as your wheel is still turned as you accelerate, so be careful with the throttle. Widen out to the left side of the track now, and you should be at around 50 or 60% throttle. Enable DRS at the line, but wait just a second before pushing to full speed, as DRS makes you lose a little bit of that rear downforce. Through the first corner now and at full throttle, slowly pull the car back to the right side of the track. Under the bridge and into the next left-hander, there aren't many reference points for braking here. One thing you can do is brake when you're about halfway between the 100 and the 50 meter boards. Visually, this means the 50 meter board should be above your left tire. For this corner, you want a very sharp jam of the brakes, but be quick to take some of that brake pressure off as you're turning the wheel as you're braking, so it's easy to lock up. This corner is all about front-end rotation, so you want to turn in slightly earlier than you think. Once turning in, stick as close as you possibly can to this gray curb on the left, but make sure not to ride a wheel on it. Through this corner, you should be in second gear. Around halfway through this long left-hander, start slowly applying the throttle. Widen out to the right side of the track once it opens up on exit, but don't extend all the way to the right as you have a right-hand corner approaching. Switch back towards the middle of the track, and then take this right-hander flat out. If you have an improper line here, it can cause the rear to slip, so you want to make sure you have the straightest line possible. You want to cut some of the inside curb here and then extend to the left exit curb. Now, stay flat out and head up the hill. That's a run through of Sector 1, now let's see it at full speed. This next corner is a bit blind until you're right on top of it, so stick to the right side of the track. Stay towards the right curb, and as soon as the inside curb becomes visible, have a sharp jam of the brakes and a single downshift to 7th gear. The second you brake, you want to be back on the power. Cut as much of this inside curb as you possibly can, but be wary of track limits. Now, extending out to the right, full power now, and use the exit curb. Again, be wary of track limits here. The next corner is a long right-hander. Approaching the corner, stay to the left side of the track. There isn't much of a reference point for braking here, so if you want, you can brake right at this electronic flag sign on the left. It's just a bit hard to see. Watching the apex of the corner is generally a better way to feel out the braking here. Once braking, turn in immediately. After downshifting, get back on the power right away. A 50% throttle input is ideal, and then slowly work up from there. This corner is infamous on the F1 games for spinning you out, so make sure you avoid touching this inside curb at all costs. Widening out to the left side of the track now, aim to hit 100% throttle once you touch the exit curb on the left. Into the next corner, stick to the left side of the track and watch for where the curb begins on the left. You want to brake right at this point. Hard braking now, turn into the corner slightly earlier than you think, as going wide through the first part of the chicane can really mess up your day. Although you have to turn in early, too early will also be a problem. Both of these curbs are flat and then raised, and you want to avoid the raised section at all costs. This corner can either lose you a lot of time or gain you a lot of time. It's very important to get it right. Once through the chicane, extend out to the right side of the track. You can use this curb on the right, however it's a bit harsh, so I try to avoid it. Into the next corner, you want a simple outside to inside line. Once turning in, a quick tap of the brake should get you slowed down enough. Once braking and turning in, get back on the power right away. When exiting, stick to the middle of the track. The next corner is pretty much the same thing, except it requires just a little bit more on the brakes. However, once braking, slowly get back on the throttle. This time you can extend to that outside curb on exit. It's important to note that through both of these last corners, I prefer to stay off the curbs completely. Into the next corner, swing to the middle of the track and just take this one flat out. Stay to the left side of the track on exit. Into the final corner of Sector 2, again, a slight tap of the brakes and one downshift will do. Get on the power right after braking and let the car sway all the way to the exit curb on the left. So that's a breakdown of Sector 2, now let's see it at full speed. Into Sector 3 now, the first corner is a right-hander. Into the corner, watch for where the curb starts on the left, you want to brake right as you reach the curb. Heavy braking now, keep your eyes focused on the apex of the corner as you turn in. You can use some of the inside curb here. This is a pretty conventional corner, so start accelerating at the mid-corner point and follow through to the exit curb on the left. Into the next corner, there aren't many reference points for braking, however, you can use this electronic flag indicator on the right if you want. If you use this, you should be braking about one car length ahead of it. However, again, it might just be easier to watch the apex of the corner and judge your braking with your distance. Under braking here, you need to trail brake pretty effectively in order to avoid a lockup, or you could brake at a lower input throughout the entire corner, either works. For this corner, stick as close as you can to that inside curb without touching it. Once the corner widens out a bit and your steering angle is a bit straighter, get back on the power. You should be extending all the way to the right here in order to maximize your acceleration. Final corner now, pull to the left side of the track. Start turning in correlation with the dividing line for the pit entry, and brake right before you reach these curbs. I like to keep the car as close to the inside as I possibly can here, and you can get on the power throughout the entirety of the corner. Keep the power output low at first, sticking to the inside. Once the corner opens up, sway further to the outside while accelerating. Ideally, you should reach full throttle before this curb starts on the left. Now, enable DRS and fly down the straight, completing the lap. That's a look at Sector 3, now let's see it at full speed. Now let's take a look at a full lap. So there you have it, a full lap of Hungary broken down corner by corner and sector by sector. If you have any questions or need more tips, feel free to leave a comment on this video or in my Discord. Also, let me know if you want to see more track guides, and if so, which ones would you like to see. So if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.